Spoilers! Okay, Doctor Strange has been out for almost a week now, so let's talk some spoilers about the movie. And in case you haven't figured it out already, that is a big fat spoiler warning for Doctor Strange. If you have not seen Doctor Strange yet, don't watch this video unless you don't care. Alright, first of all, I should probably touch on Christine Palmer, played by Rachel McAdams, since I didn't even mention her in my spoiler-free review of the movie. And I actually liked her. I thought she was pretty good for what she was. She's the person who kind of keeps Stephen Strange grounded to reality while he's off fighting his whole mystical war. She's kind of his reminder of why we need to stop the bad guys, you know, what we're fighting for. The whole love, romance interest is not the main point of the movie as it is with most of the Marvel movies. Like Sharon Carter in Civil War, like yeah, she and Cap shared a kiss, but the movie wasn't about their romance. That's why I think these Marvel movies are doing it right with the romance. You know, the biggest romance really ever in the MCU is the one between Tony Stark and Pepper Potts, although I would say that Matt Murdock and Karen Page are starting to get up there. The point is though is that I liked Rachel McAdams in this movie. I thought she was good. Alright, moving on. I can talk for hours on end about how awesome the visual effects were in this movie and how they have the Oscars wrapped up, but let's face it guys, the trippiest scene in that movie is pretty much in the beginning, where the Ancient One goes up to Stephen Strange, she's like, open your eye. And then he goes on that whole mind journey through the multiverse. At this point, I have seen this in 3D, and yeah, it is actually better in 3D, which I never say. I mean, I love 3D, but I really don't think it's necessary, but I still think it's cool. But everyone I've been talking with about this movie has said, yeah, it is actually better in 3D. So yeah, the scene where he's just going through the multiverse, tripping balls, and the hands are coming out and like grabbing him and shit. He sees like the hands coming out of his fingers. More than any other scene in this movie, that was the trippiest one. You really can't deny that. Shit was intense. Later on in the movie, Doctor Strange is at the New York Sanctum Sanctorum, where he first sees the Cloak of Levitation, in which, yeah, that thing's hilarious. I actually had no idea that that thing would actually have a mind of its own. It has a personality. It's helping Doctor Strange out. Like, no, don't go use the axe. Actually use this chain cage thing, and that'll beat up Caecilius. And I'd say that worked out pretty well. He's fighting that one zealot, and then the Cloak of Levitation just starts smacking it around all on the floor. That reminded me of, like, the scene in the first Avengers movie where Hulk just took Loki and just bashed him around. That's pretty much the same exact kind of humor. It's like slapstick pretty much, but it totally worked and it was one of the biggest laughs in the movie. But we learn about the Ancient One and the secret to how she's been able to live pretty much immortally, because in the beginning of the movie when she's fighting against Caecilius and Caecilius is all like, hypocrite! I was all like, what the hell does he mean by that? But then watching it a second time, you're like, oh yeah, I totally know what he means, because she has also been stealing energy from the dark dimension just like Caecilius was. Thing is though, is that Caecilius and his zealots, they had those, you know, the weird cracked skin around the eyes. Why does the Ancient One not have that? There's probably some secret, some method to the madness. She's, you know, the Sorcerer Supreme, she's been able to hide it somehow. You do see the mark on her forehead though. And it's not like she enjoyed stealing power from the dark dimension. It's actually quite tormenting, as she said. But she did it because, like she says, she's been preventing all these bad futures from happening. You know, she can see into the future. She probably saw Thanos somewhere in there. And she's been blocking it all off until the moment of her death, which you see, because Caecilius impales her through his, like, own zealot, which didn't really surprise me if I'm being totally honest, because I guess in the comics, again, I don't read the comics, but I do my research, is that Doctor Strange became the Sorcerer Supreme because the Ancient One died. So he pretty much took her place, kind of like Ra's al Ghul and shit. So now the Ancient One is gone, so now we need a new Sorcerer Supreme. Who's it gonna be? But then we get to the final throwdown in Hong Kong, which is actually pretty clever, you know, because like Caecilius has already wrecked the place, and Doctor Strange comes up with the idea, okay, I'll just reverse time. So they're fighting while the city is not crumbling, but fixing itself. One of the biggest complaints I hear about superhero movies is that, oh, they just wreck the place. It's just a bunch of explosions. Doctor Strange is like, we'll do something different. So we're fighting in a city that is actually doing the opposite. I thought that was pretty clever. And not only that, but we got a one-to-one face-off of Doctor Strange versus the evil dark dimension being Dormammu, the motion capture for which was actually done by Benedict Cumberbatch himself. I was like, wow, they're actually bringing in Dormammu to this Doctor Strange film. The only reason I knew about Dormammu ever in the first place before this movie is because of Lego Marvel's Avengers. It's the only reason. But yeah, it's actually hilarious and really clever how Doctor Strange actually defeated Dormammu. He jumps down, he's like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Dormammu's all like, you've come to die. And he just wipes him out. And then he comes back, he's like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And already I'm laughing in my seat. It's funny. He ended up creating a time loop, so this is just gonna keep on happening forever and ever and ever. Dormammu, 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 until Dormammu agrees to this bargain, which is to get the hell out of here. Take your silence from this world. Right when he was like that in that awesome pose, I was like, that's Doctor Strange. And so ultimately, Doctor Strange defeated the ultimate evil villain by annoying the shit out of him. Pretty smart and pretty original for a superhero movie, actually. So as much as this is another origin story in the this insanely huge Marvel Cinematic Universe of origin stories, it did throw in some pretty unique, unoriginal elements in there. So props to this movie for that. And then of course there's the mid-credits scene, which right when you hear someone say, "So Earth has wizards now, huh?" I recognize his voice instantly. I was like, that's Thor, that's Chris Hemsworth. Sure enough, you see him, he's sitting down with Doctor Strange, he has his ponytail and his beard. Basically, Doctor Strange is like, why the hell would you bring Loki, a threat to this world as we have seen, down to Earth? Thor is like, oh, we're looking for my father, we're looking for Odin. As soon as we find him, we will leave. To which Strange replies, great, allow me to help you. Which confirms the rumors that, alright, Doctor Strange is gonna have a little cameo in Thor Ragnarok. My question, however, is how does Thor know that Loki's alive? Last time we saw Loki was Thor the Dark World, in which he died, or at least faked his death in front of Thor, so Thor, as far as we know, thinks Loki is dead. I'm pretty sure Ragnarok will pick up on that, and they'll actually explain it. There'll be a scene where Loki reveals himself to be alive, and Thor's like, holy shit! So this mid-credits scene in Doctor Strange was probably a scene in Thor Ragnarok, actually. That's what I heard some people say. In the post-credits scene, we see Mordo, who's pretty much turned to the dark side now, as I predicted he would, because I knew Mordo was gonna be like Loki, you know? He was friends with Doctor Strange, and all of a sudden he turns evil. So now he's going around the Earth, and he's stealing power. He stole power from that Pangborn dude, who was using magic to walk, and now he paralyzed him again, and that sucks. Like, why being a dick, Mordo? Holy shit. So we'll see Mordo again, probably in another Doctor Strange movie, which I don't even want to think about right now. I don't want to think past Avengers 4. What I really want to talk about, though, is how the events of this movie affect the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe, and there are quite a few things to talk about actually here. First of all, the Eye of Agamotto. Wong actually mentioned, yeah, it's an Infinity Stone, which everyone pretty much already knew before the movie came out, because, hey, look at it, it's a glowing green stone. Odds are it's the Time Stone. And hey, look at that, it is. My question is, how does Wong know about the Infinity Stones? How does he know to call them that? How is he connected to them? What else does he know? Will he ever explain it? For now, the Eye of Agamotto is sitting comfortably at Kamar-Taj until Doctor Strange learns to master it. Secondly, Agamotto himself. Wong mentioned that Agamotto created this eye. So that gets me thinking, did Agamotto create the Infinity Stones? What Wong failed to mention is that, yeah, I did more research into this. Agamotto is one of the 3 eternal Vishanti. These are extra-dimensional beings. Hogarth and Oshtor are the other 2. Did they create the Infinity Stones? Are they gonna be brought up later? Are we ever gonna actually see them? Maybe in Infinity War? Thirdly, Dormammu exists. This dark dimensional being is still out there somewhere, powerful as ever. Will we see him again? Probably, but what about Thanos? Up until now, we all knew that the Mad Titan was the big bad of the Marvel CU. But now there is a supreme being who is the master of his own dark dimension of reality. Will Thanos and Dormammu work together? Is Thanos even aware of Dormammu or any of these other dimensions for that matter? Or will Dormammu just be the next big bad after Thanos? These kind of things I think about when I see Marvel movies because they affect the entire universe like this. And lastly, this made me think of the Darkhold, which is, yeah, this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. So if you're not currently watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm willing to bet that the Darkhold is one of those special books that the Ancient One kept locked up in Kamar-Taj's library. The question is now, how did it get to Los Angeles, and what does it have to do with the Ghost Rider? Just so many questions to be answered. But in the end, Doctor Strange was an awesome movie. I've seen it a couple times at this point. Out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, for me, this is number 9. It's right below the first Thor movie and above Ant-Man. So what was your favorite scene in Doctor Strange? Whatever it is, or if you want to theorize to answer any of the questions I previously asked in this video, which I completely insist you do, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.